You know, at the beginning of 2020, I didn't think I'd still be uploading videos on YouTube because I'd actually quit. I didn't think that working from home would be the most responsible and safest option because of you-know-who. And I didn't think stuff like this would cost more than petrol. And I didn't know that today would be the opportunity for me to show you what I use to film my videos. Roll that intro.
Shine. This my time, my life. 24/7 I grind. I'm feeling alive. I got no plans to die. Shine. This is my time, my life. Married to the game, my wife. Life.
Hey, what's up guys? Please pardon me for that vent. I hope this is not your first impression of me. Please check out my other stuff, you know what I mean? But before we start, I would like for you guys to click on that subscribe button and the bell notification so that whenever I upload new videos, you get to see them on that recommended section. The reason I uploaded this video is that probably some of you have been wondering the type of equipment or the type of software that I use to make all these videos, right? So without further ado, let me just start. The camera that I'm using right now, that you're looking at me with right now, is the Nikon D3100. It's been our family camera. It's been there for 10 years or so. It's quite an old camera. I don't even think Nikon makes them anymore. This is an entry-level DSLR camera. I think it's 14.2 megapixels, but I'm not really a big fan of photography. I just started getting more into videography because it's more interesting and more challenging, I guess. By the time it came out, it was able to shoot in HD 1920 by 1080 at 24 frames per second, and that's usually like film grade frames per second. And it's one of the first DSLR cameras to have continuous autofocus. That time they were competing with Canon in terms of who's better at autofocus, and this was one of the first entry-level cameras that did that. The lens that I'm using there is an 18 to 55 millimeter lens, which is not the best, to be honest, but over years of using this thing, you find ways to tackle the situation, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that, I also have a 55 to 200 millimeter lens, which is good for zooming in and out from like further places. I usually use this at an event or something, and where I'm sitting or where I'm chilling is like further away from the stage or something. But this is one of the lenses that I like, but it's not really my favorite. After years of using other people's cameras, like especially the Canon, I've realized that they've been competing with each other for like the longest time. But I've noticed that Nikon actually makes good cameras for photography. Canon makes good cameras for shooting videos. So would I recommend anybody to use this camera that I'm using? No, please don't. Unless you're into photography, then yes, you can. But if you want to shoot videos like I do, please don't. If you're interested in using this camera, however, you can also see the links on the description box below, because why not? I think right now on Amazon it costs $189. I'm not quite sure, but I'll check for you and go ahead, use it. And then my favorite camera, the Gopro Hero. This camera came out in 2014. I love this camera and how it's so portable. I can literally carry it everywhere. If you're following me on my social media, you actually notice that the last controversial video that I shot, I was using this camera. Now this camera shoots 1080 at 30 frames per second. It's a 5 megapixel camera, doesn't zoom in and out. It's actually one of the first earlier editions of GoPros. And have you seen the latest one, the GoPro 8? I think I want that. If you have 5,000 pula to give away to me, please feel free to PayPal me. That's still fine. One thing I like about this camera is that it's waterproof for up to 40 meters. It has different casings. This one is used more for like when I want to speak out and people can hear me, but there's another case somewhere, I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere in my room, where you can seal it and then you can use it in water. GoPro discontinued making this model of the camera because they wanted to improve the quality of the cameras. I mean, these days GoPros have screens here where you can see what's going on. And then we can move on to the tripod. Right now I'm using a tripod by Hammer. It's called the Star 3. Is also an entry-level tripod. It's not that huge. I think it can go up to 1.5 meters, so it's not really that demanding. It's a small tripod that you can carry around, but I don't recommend tripods when you're vlogging. You can use a Gorilla Pod, you know, those flexible tripods that you see. I had one around the house for a smartphone, and oh no, I think I borrowed it to to one of my YouTuber friends. She knows herself. You better return it if you're watching this video. But yeah, these ones for smartphones, these ones for cameras, even for GoPros as well. After I shoot my videos, I obviously import them into my computer, my laptop. This baby right here is the HP 650. This computer right here runs an i3 2.3 gigahertz processor. It's running at 6 gigabyte RAM, which is really low, and which is also the reason why it takes so long to release my videos, because rendering a video that is color graded with using this laptop would take about 4 hours. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna take 4 hours to render this video when it's color graded. And then there's also one more thing about your videos. You know, there's one thing that people forget. It's sound, which is why I also use these. These are the Akg K 52. These are very incredible studio headphones. I think they're also available in Botswana. I think the time I got them, they were 950 pula. They've been really incredibly good in terms of sound. I love watching movies with these headphones. They enable you to reference all the sounds that are coming out. If you've actually ever watched most of my videos, you'd realize that my sound is kind of, you know, it's kind of okay, even though I don't have a mic to reference anything. But yeah, it's because of these headphones, ladies and gentlemen. After I upload all my videos, you're probably wondering what I use to edit my videos and finally render them. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, and I also use After Effects because they're the most popular. I use Premiere Pro usually for all of them actually. And then that intro sequence that some of you guys love, I did it on After Effects because After Effects is more convenient for visual effects. I believe some of your favorite sci-fi movies have been made with After Effects because After Effects is just beautiful. It's just good for the soul. It's a really good software, but it's really not convenient for my laptop because it's using a 6 gigabyte RAM and it's really slow. Like, for me to render this video, I have to watch 2 movies before it's actually done. Can you imagine? Which is why now we're getting to this next section we call the wish list. If I was to replace this camera, I would replace it with the Gopro Hero 8 Black because this thing is just magical. I really want to own a Gopro Hero 8 because this thing can shoot at 4K 60 frames per second and also shoot at 1080, wait for it, 240 frames per second. And also it has this thing called hyper smooth, which you can record yourself while you're running, but you won't get that jittery effect. It just balances it and it stabilizes your image while you're running, and it's just magical just looking at it. So if you have like $400 laying around during these times, you can just kindly donate to me on PayPal. The link below in the description box. You think I'm lying? Check it. Just send me money there. It's okay, baby. I need this money. That's one camera that I would like to use. And then if I was to replace this camera that I'm using right now, I would replace it with the Canon M50, which is a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless cameras are becoming the in thing right now for people that vlog like myself. The quality of it is actually acceptable for my line of work. It shoots at 4K 24 frames per second, and then at 1080 it shoots 60 frames per second, which is also good for slow-mo. I'll put one of the videos on the description box below so that you can check out exactly what I mean. It's quite affordable. I think it goes around for 6,000 pula. It's quite affordable for the quality that it can do for you. And then if I was to replace this here laptop, although we have got years of... Before I actually tell you which laptop I want to tell you how much I love this laptop. This is my baby. We've mended a lot of broken relationships many a times. It's helped me complete my degree, gotten my first job, created websites worth well over 100,000 pula, and probably the CID is looking for it. That's a story for another day. If I was to replace this laptop with another laptop, I would probably replace it with an MSI P65. It's actually a gaming laptop. Gaming laptops have better graphics cards, more RAM. The speeds are just incredible. If I'm gonna get a camera that shoots in 4K, I need something to process those videos in 4K without having to cry or wait for the PC to start playing or eventually crashing. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's it in terms of all the equipment I use to make videos. It's not much actually. It's more like a starter kit. And what I'm trying to tell you is that if you own an iPhone 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, Huawei P9, 50, 30, 40, and you're not creating content, what are you waiting for? Because look at me, I'm using equipment from 10 years ago to still make these videos. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. I would like for you guys to like and comment and share it with your friends, because that's what's very important for the growth of this channel. Don't forget to subscribe and click on that bell icon, because you will never miss my videos. And don't forget to tell your mama, your papa, your granddaddy that I am alive, because what's the point of doing this if you ain't viewing it? Until next time, sharp sharp.